good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's me again, Jen. Hello! And I am with you today on July 29th. We are very close to the end of this month, and I have some new cards for us for next month. But for now, we are still reading from the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore and illustrated by Ali Fell. And I've been just simply adoring these cards and loving every minute of them because they are just kind of fun and whimsical in a dark sort of way. But let's see what we've got today on this Wednesday to get us through the week, the rest of the week. We have, okay, Judgment. I think it's been a bit since we've had a major arcana card. Remember, the major arcana cards are kind of that big idea sort of thing and the journey of the fool. So it always starts out with 0 with the fool and his adventures or misadventures, as the case may be. Judgment is very close to the end of that adventure, being that it is card number 20. And if you don't know your Roman numerals, time to learn them. 2 X's is 20. The Judgment card typically is illustrated with the Angel of Judgment blowing her trumpet and the dead rising and resurrecting to be taken to heaven in that very kind of cosmic, mythological sort of moment, biblical moment happening. So they had to, of course, steampunk this out, and instead of having a regular horn, she has a gramophone. Gramophone? Yes. And there is a record playing on it, and the horn is represented by the horn on the gramophone. She still has her angelic wings, but she also has kind of the pilot's helmet and goggles, which makes it very steampunk whimsical. The rising from the tomb, instead, it looks like they're kind of rising from maybe an accident that they had in their whirligig machine there. And it sort of looks like maybe they were, I don't know, I want to say it's very Jules Verne time travel-y looking, that maybe they are not on the ground because there's so much clouds and mist and things like that sort of surrounding them. In fact, you can't even see the bottom half of the angel, that she's kind of hidden behind those clouds. The woman in the car is kind of standing ready to be levitated off, I guess. There is a man who is, I'm going to guess he's dead, not asleep, and then another who is just looking rather astounded by this whole thing. He's awestruck. So I really do like this representation of the card in the sense that it does embrace all of those pieces. It has the horn, it has the angel's wings, and it has them rising up from the ashes sort of thing, or from the tomb. But what I think is interesting is it sort of misses the point of it, they're for sure dead and then they're resurrecting. So other than this guy, it's hard to tell that they were even like meant to be resurrected. I will say that in this case, it sort of feels more like they're being called to something, some greater purpose, rather than just resurrecting. So I like that it's not just about you're dead and you're rising from the grave, because this card also represents kind of that renaissance or rebirth in the physical realm still. And you don't have to be dead to have that happen. You can just kind of either feel disconnected and, as they say, a little dead inside, and suddenly you kind of hear the music of a renewed passion. And so like you hear the horn of this angel calling you, this muse possibly, or just a voice of your inner self. And that song is different for everybody. That tune is different for everyone. So when people are like, "Oh, I hear the horns of judgment," well, for you maybe, but what about for the rest of us? So I really like that this kind of is like she's playing a record, she's playing music, and everybody hears this music kind of in a different way, and maybe this guy just hasn't woken up to it yet. So I like that because it does show that even though the music is going to play at the same time, everyone is going to hear it a bit differently, react a bit differently, and succumb to it in different ways. So, this card being about rebirth and renaissance and all of those kinds of things, it does really make more sense to me in this one that they're not entirely dead, and maybe she was alive through this whole thing, and maybe they've been traveling through time and now they've found this in the ether. The ether is a big thing in the 1800s and early 1900s, which is why I really like the idea that kind of that ghost box situation is happening with the angel as she's singing the voices of the heavens and singing the voices from beyond in the ether. So it's a little whimsical in that way. The spirit recorder or the ghost box was a big deal back in these times too. They were just starting to figure out audio and how to either capture it or record it and listen to kind of the airwaves. So maybe it's not so much that she is projecting this sound, but she's capturing the sound of, their heartbeats and their impulses, and all of those kinds of things are being captured rather than just being expelled from this horn. A lot to read into in this card, I think. And it's really very beautiful in that, look at the way the light is on her wings. You can tell that it's like she is glowing, but then there's like this bluish color down at the bottom. They're being summoned up from something darker, something less holy, shall we say. So I like all of this and it really does kind of speak to that Jules Verne sort of feel of you're traveling in the time machine or you're traveling to the center of the earth and all of a sudden you hear this song, this music, and it draws you in. And a lot of Jules Verne's stuff, it has kind of a spiritual bent to it as well if you really read into it. So maybe it's just me loving the Jules Verne feel of this card, but I do think that it's a great way to kind of get into the middle of the week and head towards the weekend. Take Wednesday as your rebirth, your renewal, and see what happens. See what wonderful mystical things you can hear if you just listen. So I like that card. Judgment on the Steampunk Tarot. As always, if you are interested in seeing more interesting things on either, my website or other weird things that I do, check out the links in the description below. If you are interested in tarot lessons, check out the Tarot Cafe and learn more about that. Also, at the end of this, there will be links to the playlist that will tell you all the cards that we've done this month and in previous months. And it's just really neat to go back and see all the cards and all the interesting things. And none of them are more than like 10 minutes long. So you do 2 or 3 a day and you got a half-hour show. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you tomorrow.